This guide is brought to you by WoWweekly.net, your source for Warcraft and Blizzard news, guides, and editorials. Hey guys, I'm Mezzy, and welcome to my guide for 10-man heroic Thok the Bloodthirsty. This is the 11th encounter in the heroic siege of Orgrimmar. I'm going to assume that you know the normal mode mechanics. If you don't, you can check out my normal mode guide. You can click on the link in the annotation or in the description section below. Thok himself does not really have any changes except for the massive increase in damage and health, both which make this fight another step up in difficulty when you do it for the first time. Each time he eats one of the NPCs you release from a cage, however, he will heal for about 50 million health, so you really want to avoid opening the fire cage. You can do this fight with a few different compositions when it comes to the amount of tanks and healers you use. You can do it with 2 tanks and 3 healers, or 1 tank and 4 healers, or if your healers can handle it, 1 tank and 3 healers. As we'll be talking about stacks a lot and this fight has different types of stacks, we'll handle the tank ones first. If you do it with 2 tanks, have them switch at 3 stacks of the debuff of Fearsome Roar, which increases damage taken from the cone by 25% per stack. If you're going to be using 1 tank, then tough luck, because you're going to be taking all the stacks. Because of the massive amount of extra health, you'll be in phase 1 a lot longer than on normal mode. In fact, we go up to about 28 stacks of acceleration in the first phase, 10 stacks in the second phase 1, and then again 28 in the third phase 1. You might want to adjust this to what your composition can handle. For example, you want to go for less with 3 healers and 1 tank. However, keep in mind that you can go to 30 stacks max, as when you reach 31 stacks, it'll soften rage, making the deafening screech do over 1 million damage, so that forces you to switch phases. Due to the acceleration, the casting of Deafening Screech will get faster every time. The speed caps around 7 to 8 stacks. The damage will also most likely get you under 50%, triggering the bloody debuff on you, which means that if you're all stacked up, you'll go into phase 2 straight away. To deal with this, you'll have to split up into 2 groups, both of which need to be close enough to each other to fit within a healing circle, but further away than 10 yards to prevent triggering the phase change. When splitting the groups, make sure that the group closer to the melee has less than the other ranged group to prevent accidental phase changes. So with the Screech interrupting casting, you will need to use cooldowns to help keep your raids topped off. You should start using them on the 6 to 8 stacks mark and keep rotating them to get a maximum of 30 stacks. I would suggest 28 however, if your team can handle it, so you have 2 roars to get the phase change to trigger. We used the following cooldown rotation on our very first kill. It will be different for you depending on your setup. If you're using 1 tank, be sure to coordinate with the healers when your tank needs the external cooldowns. When you get to the amount of stacks you want to switch on, have your groups stack and let the phase change. You'll want to use this phase to do more damage on Thok, but go back to phase 1 before he becomes too fast. Use speed increasing cooldowns on the higher stacks when kiting, and open the cage a few seconds after he gets the 10th stack of Bloody Frenzy, and he should position up well if you use the positions we use in the video. You'll want to kite him towards the entrance of the room and back. The only change to the kiting is that you'll want to have Thok target the healers for it, which means you'll want them to be further away than the DPS, up to a maximum of 150 yards. Also, after you finish kiting Thok, be sure to run closer to him so that he doesn't choose you again. He has a blind spot for choosing you a second time, if you're close but not too close. For the cages, you'll still want to open the poison one first and the frost one second. Nothing changes to those mechanics themselves except for the damage, so use Mass Dispel for the poison dot to your advantage. In the poison phase, you'll have to deal with cave bats that spawn, which deal massive AoE damage, just like the ones from the trash before the boss. They'll spawn around the second Screech. Have your DPS AoE them down and use their second pots on them as well. If you can spare the cooldown here to reduce the damage, use it, otherwise you'll just have to power through it. In the frost phase, you'll have to deal with the Yeti, which charges around, and if it hits you, you're as good as dead. So have someone watch it and call out if the group needs to move to not get hit by it. It's completely random as to where he will go next, but as on the trash mob, it will show a red glowing marker on which he will charge next to in a straight line. You could kill it, but you're better off ignoring it to make sure that you get as much damage done on Thok as possible. Keep going in this third phase 1 until the maximum of 30 stacks, then have it switch, and in the third kiting phase put that overgrown dinosaur down. It's not an easy fight, especially if you don't have many cooldowns to rotate through, so good luck. If you liked this video, please comment and subscribe, and of course click that like button. If you would like to keep up with when new videos come out but you don't have a YouTube account, you can also follow me on Facebook or Twitter at facebook.com/wowweekly or twitter.com/bbmezzy. For now, I'm Mezzy and I'll see you again next time.